Hello, welcome. Let's get ready for some yoga. Find a comfortable seat, relax your shoulders, close your eyes, and take some breaths in and out through your nose. Either keeping your eyes closed or gently allowing them to open, bring your hands together at your heart. With your next inhale, lift your hands up toward the ceiling. If your eyes are open, maybe look up towards your hands. And then on your exhale, open your arms out to the side, bring your hands around and down all the way back to your heart. And then continue moving with your breath, lifting hands up on your inhales, lowering your hands down on your exhales. Let's do one more. Meeting back with hands together at the heart. And then we'll come forward to hands and knees. Finding your tabletop position, and then working through some cat-cows from here. Inhaling to cow, lowering your belly and lifting your chin. Then exhaling to cat, tucking your chin, lifting your spine. And then begin to make your way back to a child's pose. Stretching your hands toward the front of your mat, letting your head drop down toward the mat. And take a gentle vinyasa to downward dog, shifting forward to a plank, bending your elbows, lowering down to the ground, lifting up to a little cobra, lowering back down, and then pressing into your hands to push up through plank to downward dog. Maybe pedaling out your heels here, bending one knee at a time. And bringing that movement to a stop, walk your feet out about hip distance apart, and then walk your hands towards your feet. Find a forward fold near the back of your mat. You'll be keeping your knees slightly bent. And then we'll roll up to standing. First, activating your legs by rooting your feet into the floor. Imagine you could turn your toes away from each other. And then slowly beginning to round up. Eventually, reaching your arms overhead, maybe looking up towards your hands. And then release your arms by your side. Okay, we're going to do a flow from here. So making sure your feet are hips distance, maybe a little narrower. Just make sure that they are parallel to each other. And then keep your arms by your sides for now. And then on your next inhale, lift your heels, bouncing up on your toes. And with your exhales, bring your heels back down. So starting small here, inhale to lift your heels, exhale to lower back down. Next time you lower your heels, lift your arms up toward the ceiling. And then when you lift your heels again, bring them back down. So lifting your arms and lowering your arms with your breath like your heels, but it's kind of like they're opposite since your arms lift when your heels lower. And then we're going to add a chair to this. So next time your heels come down, bend your knees, come down into a chair. And then inhale, lift your heels, lower your arms, straighten your legs. Finish one more, and then we're going to meet in chair. Heels down, arms lifted. Neutral spine. Then come back up to standing, lifting your heels, arms alongside you, balancing here on the balls of your feet. Maybe try closing your eyes if you want a little extra challenge with the balance. If your eyes are closed, gently allow them to open. Lower your heels, lift your arms, keep your legs straight. We're going to come to forward fold, hinging out your hips. Eventually letting your spine round down. And let's take a few breaths here. Maybe widening your feet, grabbing opposite elbows, moving side to side. And then release your hands down to the floor. And curl your hands out, come out to a plank, and then take whichever version of vinyasa you're ready for to get to downward dog. From down dog, lift your left leg up behind you, three-legged dog. And then bring your left foot forward in between your hands. And come down to a low lunge, lowering your back knee. Okay, so standing here for a moment, shift your hips forward. Feel a little stretch in your hips here. Keeping your shoulders down, heart open. And then we'll take the hamstring stretch, hips back, straighten your front leg. Maybe lift your front toes, bring your head down towards your knee. Walk your hands forward, come back to that low lunge. So front knees bent. And then lift up, lifting your arms overhead. Maybe looking up towards your hands. Taking a few breaths here. If your back toes aren't tucked under, tuck under your back toes and lift your back knee, coming up to crescent pose. Open your arms out into a T, so your gaze is forward, and then have your palms facing toward the front of your mat. And then we're going to twist toward the left, keeping your arms open straight out to the side. Untwist. Lift your arms up overhead. Take an inhale here. Exhale, hands to the floor. Step your front foot back. Take a vinyasa to get to downward dog. From down dog, lift your right leg up behind you, three-legged dog. And then bring your right foot forward, placing it in between your hands. Back knee on the ground. Low lunge here. Shifting hips forward, heart open, shoulders down. And then find half splits, shifting hips back, straightening your front leg, head toward your knee. Come back to the low lunge, bending your front knee, and then lift your arms overhead, look up towards your hands. Tuck your back toes under, lift your back knee. Open your arms out to the side into a T, and then turn toward the right. Maybe look back towards your right hand. Untwist. Lift your arms back up overhead, look up toward your hands. Inhale here, and then exhale your hands down, stepping back to your plank, taking a vinyasa to downward dog. Look towards your hands, step or hop to the front of your mat, finding a forward fold. Then on your inhale, lift part way, lengthening your spine. Exhale, fold back down. Inhale to stand, reach your arms overhead. And exhale, arms alongside you. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, come down into a chair, bending your knees, sitting your hips back. Let's do balance on our toes here, coming to drinking bird. So lift your heels, and then bring your arms alongside you. Lean forward so that your spine is parallel to the ground. Turn your palms behind you so that your palms are facing the ceiling. Starting with your arms about parallel to your torso. And we're going to do little wing flaps. So I'm imagining I'm like a dodo bird or something that can't actually fly, but I'm trying to. So you're going to lift and lower your arms behind you. So maybe imagining that you have something on your palms and you're trying to lift it up, which probably is not going to lift up very high since it's an awkward angle, which is why we can't fly. Only reason. Flap your wings one more time, and then come back to normal chair, heels down, arms up overhead. Take an inhale here, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift part way. Exhale down, step or hop back to your plank and vinyasa to down dog. Lift your left leg up behind you, three-legged dog. Open up your hips to scorpion, bending your left knee. Maybe wiggling around your toes and your ankle. And then level out your hips. Bring your left knee to your left elbow, coming out toward a plank. Okay, pausing here for a moment, as if it's no big deal and you could do this all day. And then slowly stretch it out just to regular three-legged dog, so hips square toward the floor. Stretch out your left leg. And then rebend it, bringing it toward your right elbow this time, a little bit of a twist. Seeing how high up on your right arm you can get it, as if you could bring it into your shoulder. And then slowly stretch it back, three-legged dog. And one more more time, bring it forward, this time placing it in between your hands, and then lift up to warrior two. Breathing here. Reverse your warrior, lifting your left arm up. And then come forward to side angle. Maybe left elbow to your left knee, or maybe left hand to the floor. And then stretch your right arm toward the back of your mat, arms straight, fingers straight. We're going to make some circles with our right arm. So bring your arm toward the right, and then up toward the front of your mat, so you have a long line from your hand to your back foot. And then bring it maybe a little bit behind you, opening up your shoulder, and then back toward the back of the mat. So let's do 2 more about like that. And then reverse the direction of those circles. And then let's hold side angle. Reach your right arm straight up toward the ceiling. If you leaned into your left shoulder, lift back out. Let's take the bind, so reach your right arm behind you. And then reach your left arm underneath your left thigh, reaching your hands toward each other. So you can stay here, or if you want to do bird of paradise, you can step your right foot in closer. And begin to shift your weight into your right leg, lifting the left off the floor. Coming up to standing with your right leg straight. And then maybe working on straightening your left leg. When you're ready to come back down, bring your left foot to the floor, step your right foot back, and then unbind, opening your arms out to the side, warrior two, shake it out. And then we'll take one more inhale here, and exhale, hands to the floor, step left foot back, vinyasa to downward dog. From down dog, lift your right leg up behind you, and then find scorpion, lifting your right hip, bending your right knee. Slowly come out to a plank. Bring your right knee to your right elbow, or maybe even a little bit higher. And then slowly stretch it back, three-legged dog, hips square toward the floor. Bring your right knee toward your left elbow, or a little higher, or a little lower. And then slowly stretch it back, three-legged dog. And one more time, bring your right foot forward, planting it in between your hands, lifting up to warrior two. Breathing here. Reverse your warrior, right arm lifts. And then shift forward to the side angle, finding a cozy spot for your right arm. And we'll make circles with the left, starting by reaching toward the back foot and then reaching out in front of you toward the front of the room and around all the way back to your back foot. A couple more circles like that. You probably, hopefully know what to do. Hopefully you have enough room. And then reverse the direction of those circles. And then hold side ankle, reaching your left arm straight up toward the ceiling. Lift out of your right shoulder if you sink down. And then on option 4, the bind, left hand behind you. Right arm underneath your right thigh. Maybe clasping your hands together. And if you want to try bird of paradise, hop your left foot forward. Shift weight into your left foot. And stand up on it. Lifting the right. Wah. And maybe experiment with straightening your right leg. Slowly begin to lower back down. Stepping back to side angle, bind, and then opening up to warrior 2. Shaking out your arms, and then taking one more breath in here, exhaling, hands down, stepping your right foot back, taking the vinyasa to downward dog. Look towards your hands, step or hop to the front of your mat, forward fold. On your inhale, lift partway, lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold back down. Inhale, come up to standing, reach your arms overhead. And exhale, arms by your side. All right, we're going to do eagle pose next. So let's start with the legs. Arms can be maybe on your hips or if you want. Bending both knees. Let's bounce on the right leg first, so cross your left leg over your right. Maybe tucking your left foot around your right leg, or if that's not happening, left toes floating out to the side or tapping down on the floor. Then open your arms out into a T. Your left leg is on top, so you want your left arm under your right. Crossing your upper arms, clasping your hands together. And then try to lift your elbows so they're about shoulder height. Maybe bend your right knee so you sink down a little bit more. Maybe stay here, or maybe try a couple crunches in eagle. So you can bring your elbows down toward your left knee. Maybe they tap, maybe they don't. And then lift your torso back up to eagle. So we'll stay here a little bit longer, maybe crunching, maybe just working on balancing still. If you're crunching, finish one more. And then holding eagle. Lifted. And then keeping your left foot off the ground, slowly unwind it, stretching it back toward a warrior 3. Maybe keeping eagle arms up first, and then allow your arms to release, maybe out to the side or up overhead. And then slowly come all the way up to standing, left foot next to your right, and shake things out. Okay, let's try the other side. Knees bent, this time right leg over your left, crossing your thighs, finding a cozy spot for your right foot. And then open your arms out to the side. We want right arm under left this time. Lifting elbows to shoulder height. Trying to keep your hips and your shoulders squared toward the front of the room. And then option for little crunches, bringing elbows down to touch your knees. And then carefully lifting back up. Finishing one last eagle crunch. Lifting up to eagle, eagle. And gently release your right leg. Stretch it back for warrior 3. And then stretch your arms out. Release into eagle arms. And then slowly come up to standing. Shake things out. Okay, we are going to roll down a couple times toward forward fold. So feet about parallel to each other, arms alongside you. We're going to roll down toward the right, so as if you're trying to bring your head down to your right foot. So you can start by letting your chin drop toward your chest and turning your head a little bit so your gaze is toward your right foot. Round your shoulders, maybe slight bend in your knees as you begin to round your torso down. Hands gently reaching towards your right foot. Maybe they reach it, maybe not. Coming down as far as is comfortable. And then slowly come back up the way you came. Once you're lifted, gaze forward, other side, tuck your chin, look towards your left foot, rounding your shoulders down, rounding your spine down toward your left foot. And carefully rolling all the way back up. Coming to standing, shoulders back, gaze forward, lift your arms up. Maybe slight back bend here, maybe slightly look up. And then hinge forward at your hips, forward fold. Straight down the middle. Next inhale, lift partway, lengthen your spine. Exhale, stepping back. Vinyasa to downward dog. Every down dog, come back to plank. And then lower down onto your forearms. So we're taking dolphin arms here or sphinx arms. We'll do both of those poses. So elbows are directly under your shoulders. And you're in the plank here, maybe TV watcher position. Try to keep your arms parallel, fingers, palms flat against the floor. And then carefully drop your knees to the ground. And maybe press tops of your feet down to the ground. So here we're in like a modified plank, but we have elbows down. And we're going to slowly roll into Sphinx. So let your thighs come toward the floor, hips, and maybe your lower belly. Lifting your heart toward the front of your mat, maybe looking forward. Try to keep your shoulders down away from your ears. Take a couple breaths here. And then let's slowly roll back up to plank. Lift your belly, lift your hips, your thighs, and then tuck your toes under, lift your knees. Once you're in this forearm plank, we'll come to dolphin. So walk your feet toward your hands, lifting your hips, downward dog, but with your forearms down. Trying to keep your spine lengthened, which may or may not happen. And then we're going to come back to Sphinx the way we came. Walk your feet behind you. Straight line from shoulders to heels. Then lower your knees, flatten your feet, slowly roll your spine, your belly down, lifting your heart in your Sphinx pose. Breathing here, letting your belly expand with your inhales. And then make your way back to dolphin. On your own, rolling up through the plank and walking your feet in. And if you want here, you can try lifting one leg at a time. So you want to start with your feet right next to each other. Feet walked in as close as is comfortable, or maybe a little uncomfortable. And then try lifting one leg up toward the ceiling. Bring that foot down and lift the other foot up. Bring that foot down. See if you can lengthen your spine a little bit more. And then make your way back to Sphinx, walking feet back. Going through plank and then rounding down. Sphinx pose, shoulders down, heart open. Maybe try looking over each shoulder a few times, looking toward your feet from the left and then from the right. And then bring your gaze back to center. Scoot your elbows out to the side. Let yourself rest down on the floor, maybe making a pillow with your hands to rest your forehead on. Maybe bend your knees behind you and let your feet move side to side. Stretch your legs back out. Bring your hands under your shoulders. Press up to modified plank. And then take downward dog. Stretch out your spine. Notice how much easier it is here compared to dolphin, at least for me. And then let's go down to child's. Knees down, hips back, arms forward. Again, lengthening your spine here. And then walk your hands over to the right, taking out your left side. And walk your hands over to your left. And then walk your hands center, come up to tabletop. We're going to do a little bit of shoulder work and then a shoulder stretch. So I'm going to do this without any weights in my arms, but if you decide this is super easy and you can do better, you can grab a really light weight or water bottle as full as you want it to hold in your hand. So from tabletop, you're going to bring your right hand into a fist. I'm going to bring it out to the side. So you can keep your arms straight, but you want your shoulders as much as possible squared toward the floor. You could also place a block underneath your left hand so that your right arm doesn't run into the floor as much. All right, so then you're going to gently lift and lower your right arm. So you're going to lift it as high as you can without lifting your right shoulder. So probably it's going to be about parallel to the floor, and then bring it back down. And so then repeating that small movement, lifting and lowering your right arm, keeping it as straight as possible, your shoulders squared toward the floor. If you have a weight in your hand, set it down. Then we're going to lift up one more time. This time let your right shoulder lift. So you can bring your hand maybe up toward the ceiling. Open your fists, wiggle around your fingers. And then we're going to thread the needle, bring your right hand underneath you, off to the left. Bring your right shoulder down toward the ground. You can keep your left hand by your head or maybe walk it forward. If you don't feel much of a stretch here, one thing I like to do is really press my right arm into the floor, which helps twist my body a little bit further. I actually also get a better twist if I don't straighten my left arm, keep it pressing into the mat. Walk your left hand back by your head. Press onto it to come back up to tabletop. Okay. Alright, then let's try the other side. So left hand out to the left, hand into a fist, maybe holding onto something light. And then lift and lower your left arm, shoulders staying square toward the ground, left arm staying straight. Hopefully your shoulder isn't popping like mine. I don't know why it's doing that. If you have a weight in your hand, set it on the floor. And then lift up one more time, lifting your left shoulder, opening your fists, wiggling around your fingers. And then thread the needle, left arm underneath and off to the right, setting your shoulder down, maybe walking your right hand forward. And then press the back of your left arm into the floor. Press your right arm into the floor and help twist a little further. And then walk your right hand in, press into it to lift up to tabletop. Let's do a couple quick cat-cows here. Inhaling cow, exhaling cat. And then head back to a short child's pose. Option is to bring your palms together and bend your elbows, hands toward the back of your head. Send your arms back out, coming to tabletop, and then come all around to a seat. And let's lower it down to the floor. Okay. Lowering one vertebrae at a time with your spine around it. Try not to use your hands if you can avoid it. And then rest your head and shoulders down, knees in towards your chest. Maybe rock side to side a few times. And then keeping your knees tucked in towards your chest, open your arms out into a T. And we're going to move our legs side to side a few times without the help of our arms, using our core. So only going as far as you can, where you can lift back up. Maybe first coming over toward the left. Bringing knees toward the left, close to the floor, maybe, maybe not. And slowly lifting up to center and bringing your knees over toward the right. And then try moving back and forth a few times. If this is super easy, no big deal, feel free to try straightening your legs a little bit, or maybe all the way. Next time you bring your knees over toward the left, hold there, hovering your legs above the ground, and then let them release down. Okay, we'll relax into this twist. Try to reach your right shoulder toward the floor, and then maybe turn your gaze toward the right. We'll make our way to the other side. Feel free to cheat your way back up to center if you need to, like I do. And then slowly drop your knees over toward the right, hovering them at first, staying strong, and then wimping out, let your legs release over to the right. Left shoulder down, gaze toward the left. Gently come to center. Place your feet on the floor, about hips distance apart. Bring your arms alongside you. We're just going to do one bridge here. Just lifting up briefly into your bridge. Maybe take a breath here. And then lower your spine back down. And lift both feet up toward the ceiling. With arms up toward the ceiling. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Move around your ankles and your wrists. And then find stillness in your feet. Maybe feet flexed if you want to keep them active, or you can let them release and just hang out there. And then spread your fingers wide, turn your palms toward each other, and lift your arms up towards the top of your mat, bringing your arms alongside your ears, hover them above the floor. Don't let them relax down. And then reach your hands back up toward the ceiling. Open your arms out to either side. You're going to hover above the floor. Arms straight. Then lift your arms up. Cross your right arm over your left. Keeping your arms straight at first. So right arms toward the left, left arms toward the right. And then let your elbows bend. Relax for a moment here. Letting your hands come down to the floor. And activate your arms, straightening your hands, straightening your arms, and then lift your hands back up toward the ceiling and open them out to the side, hover them above the ground. And then slowly lift them up. We're going to cross again, this time left arm over right, keeping your arms straight and active, and then letting them release. Elbows bend, just relax down. And then reactivate, arms straight, uncrossing arms, hands shoulder distance, straight up toward the ceiling. Reach them up, let's bring them out to the side once more, hovering them above the ground. And then reach them up toward the ceiling. Reach them up alongside your ears, hovering above the floor. Lift them back up toward the ceiling. And then bring them alongside you, hover them above the floor alongside your hips. And then let your arms relax down. Going to lower our legs down to the floor for Shavasana. You can just let them relax down if you want. Or you can do slow leg lifts, making your legs work for it. Maybe bringing your hands under your hips for this. Slowly keeping your legs straight, legs active, and carefully lowering them all the way down toward the floor. Maybe you hover them above the ground for a moment or two for a little extra work. And then release everything down, arms out to your sides, feet in the corners of your mat. Maybe setting your timer for a few minutes of Shavasana. Thank you for joining me for yoga today. Hope you have a great rest of your day.